Storyboarding is the quintessential first step when it comes to an animated project. Well, of course, after the script and all that good stuff. But nonetheless, if you're someone like me that doesn't draw and can't do their own storyboards, then you're going to need to work with somebody and you're going to need a process for how you do it. So I wanted to share my way of working with artists to maybe give you some inspiration and just how you might go about it, especially if you're working with somebody who is remote. So step number one is that I look at the script and I really go page by page, scene by scene, and examine, okay, what's happening here, and let me create a shot list for it. So I go through and I think, okay, is this going to be a wide shot? Is this going to be a close-up? Like what's happening here and how do we best capture it? So I start to write what I envision in my own mind and put pen to paper, okay? So that is step number one, is to create a shot list for a scene. Then afterwards, I will try to find reference images from movies, TV shows, that are similar to the types of shots that I'm trying to achieve, whether it be the angle, whether it be the blocking, perhaps the lighting, anything of that nature that helps convey what's written in a visual form, okay? And resources such as like ShotDeck, for example, are great. You can search a database of screenshots from TV shows and movies. No, they're not a sponsor. No, I don't get any commission. I just happen to like them. The point is you can utilize various platforms or just do a Google search, although the Google search is a little bit harder to find something specifically that you're looking for. Now, there's times where I might get sort of an overall feel for what I'm going for with these references, but not quite. That's when I bust out what I call action figures, and I really sort of block them out and then start filming them. So that way I can make the shots and really dictate how things go. Now, it's a little hard to sometimes do it by myself, especially when it's a larger scene with a lot of stuff happening, but it's a great sort of jumping off point to indicate what I'm trying to go for in that capacity. Another trick that I'll often utilize is do a floor plan, right? So I'll do a floor plan not only of the set, quote unquote, but also where the cameras might be, where the characters are being blocked. If someone has to walk from one side of the room to the other, I'll put all of that stuff in there so whoever's working on these scenes has a sense of literally the space and who's going where and what's happening within that scene, right? So then once all of this stuff is compiled, we have a weekly meeting where I share all of this and go shot by shot and I present it, right? And I go and I explain all these things of what's happening and I allow them to ask questions and they'll ask, okay, is that person sad? Is it, are they moving fast? And they'll ask stuff that I might have not thought of, which is great. That's what you want. And so we record it. That way it is able to be referenced for them as they go off and have all this stuff. So they have the shot list, they have all my references, they have the video from the meeting itself, and of course I am available to them via email, text, whatever throughout the week if they run into anything or just need clarification or want some feedback on something that they drew before they dive in too deep, whatever else may be, right? Then the following week, what happens is we review everything. So I get all the storyboards created for that week the night before. I review it, see what needs to be changed, if anything at all. And then in the meeting, we go over all of that. We talk about, what's working really well, where we can improve. And then we go over the next set of shots that will need to be storyboarded out, which I'll have gone through the process that I highlighted, the shot listing, the reference shots and all that. We'll go over the next set, right? And then we just continue this on and on as we go. And we keep track of all of it via Google spreadsheet. That way we know kind of what's happening with what, what has been approved, what's in revision, things of that nature. And as the shots get completed, I take the individual panels, put it in a Premiere Pro timeline, start to make an animatic out of it, so we can see it within a linear timeline and feel like how it's working overall for the whole movie, right? So this is how we've been building out the project that I'm working on. It's been a lot of fun to see things come to life. Is it the best methodology? No, at the end of the day, it's whatever works for you. This works for us, but I figured I'd highlight it to give you at least a way to go about it. But as always, feel free to ask any questions you may have. And also, too, if you have systems that you're utilizing that work well for you, I would love to hear what those might be. And, oftentimes I like to create hybrids, once I find out better ways of doing stuff and things of that nature. And, maybe this inspires you to utilize some of this stuff within your workflow and all that. Anyway, I digress. I hope this has been beneficial to you. And as always, I hope to see you next time.